actress, director, and producer, Meredith Scott Lynn. Currently, Meredith plays Anne on NBC's Days of Our Lives and has recently launched, guys, this is really important, she's recently launched Right Brain Books. It's a website devoted to making children authors of their own stories by providing wordless books for them to create their own stories and then later publish through the website. It's an awesome, awesome project, and I absolutely love it. Welcome, Meredith. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So I know the story. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say I really dig what BookTrib is about, and I love the community of literarily interested people who have signed on to your world, and I think it's awesome, like people who are reading and holding books in their hands and touching paper and
Absolutely.
and continuing to immerse themselves into stories. Those are people I want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome to our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. So I know the story and I know it's on your website, but for everyone listening, tell us about rightbrainbooks.com, a little bit about it and kind of how you came up with this idea.
Okay. So, of course, there's something right over there across the room that I wish I brought over to show you, which is such a fun part of how this all happened. So as soon as someone appears out of one of the offices here, I'm going to ask them to grab it.
Cool.
So I have been an actress for 20 years, about 25, 26 years, actively acting in a professional manner in one way or another. And prior to that, as a young person, I was a storyteller. I was an active storyteller. I would enter contests in school. They still do them. I'm sure a lot of the people watching know what I'm talking about. You enter a storytelling contest in your school, then maybe you would win. And if you did, you'd go compete with the other storyteller winners from other schools at the district level. And then if you won, it would go higher and higher and higher. And I was a storyteller as a young person. And in doing that, I discovered my voice. And I'm sure that was part of the plan, the universe or God's plan on my path to becoming an actor. Because you have to feel somewhat confident that your voice matters and that it has a place in order to forge the life of an actress looking for jobs, as you can imagine. So all of that was sort of the context that bred a bunch of ideas and feelings in me that young people and even grown-ups, I mean, I have best friends who are face down, glued to their digital devices and their iPads and their computers 24/7. But I started noticing that young people are really, really distracted and heavily barraged at all times by everything from great information on the internet to video games, and that they were, it seemed to me, losing a little bit of an ability to just connect and look into someone's eyes and have really meaningful conversations and build memories and, things like that.
Absolutely.
So that's a context for a weekend that I spent at my sister's house. I went to visit my sister who had become a mom a few months prior. And my niece, who was not of reading age, she was a baby, was sitting on my lap. And my sister asked me to read her a story while she took a shower. So I reached for a book, and of course the book is right there, so I want to run and get it for you, but then this will be empty, which would be weird. She asked me to read her a story, and I looked on the radiator next to where I was sitting because the bookshelf, which had like 200-300 children's books on it, was so far across the room, I didn't feel I could get up with the baby and get over there without disturbing the baby.
Right.
So I picked up the one book that was right near me, and it was a beautiful little book by Eric Carle, who's a wonderful children's book artist, of just these paintings of animals. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, there was no story to read.
Right.
So I went through each page of this book and wrote my own story. I just created my own story for what I saw happening in the pictures because I didn't want to bore my baby niece to death, and I didn't want to bore myself to death. And then when this story was done, I thought, that's a pretty good story. I should call Eric Carl and we should collaborate. And then I was like, wait a minute, children's books with beautiful pictures and no words that would inspire children to
Right.
be able to write their own stories, right? So I had never started a business, and I asked my sister if these things existed, and she said she didn't know. And then I did research. I went to libraries and bookstores and looked online for books. There are lots of illustrated wordless books. They're just not meant for you to write in
Right.
or create your own story for. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I had the idea, and then I sort of fiddled on a piece of paper with names for the company. And when I came up with the name, which is Right Brain Books, and it was available on GoDaddy, frankly, as a .com, I thought, I don't know what is happening, but I need to figure it out and not stop till it's something. And
Absolutely.
then that's what happened.
Definitely.
Now we have a product line that we're about to launch in retail, some that we've already launched in retail in a super small way. We have curriculum for during the school day and then programs for after the school day,
Mhm.
primary through high school in the art of children's book authoring. It's a full-on standards aligned narrative and creative writing course. I mean, I don't know what happened, except that I brought on some amazing people on the consultancy level at first, and then I raised a little bit of investment, and now we have like a company and people and students, and we're doing this
Oh,
because the more I talk about it, the more crazy it seems.
and now
So
this
that's what we're doing.
it's pretty involved, but it's also as simple as a parent can sign on and go to Book Builder on the website and just
Yep.
start having their kid create their own book. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yes. And also, I want to point out we market to young people because that's where our curriculum focuses. But the truth is, lots of grown-ups write these children's books, and
Yeah,
lots of grown-ups want to write a children's book, and lots of grown-ups stare at a blank piece of paper just like a child and go, where do I start?
right.
A lot of parents will write a Right Brain book and dedicate it to their child because there's a
Oh,
space
that's
in the
awesome.
front I'll show you soon where you can dedicate it. So anyone, there are two ways to start right away. Anyone, grown-up, child, can go online to our website, click for everyone else when you land on the landing page.
Yep.
You're welcome to click for educators because the education page is pretty awesome, and there are lots of videos, and it's an exciting, fun thing to do. But you click for everyone else, it takes you to the home page of our website, and then you would go look around. The website was created by our creative director, Faith Miller, and I wrote all of what you see on the website. The point of the website was to have a parent get on and not want to get off, to have a child get on and not want to get off, to have a teacher get on and not want to get off the website. It's like a playground
Yeah.
of color and ideas, and it's really an exciting place to hang out for a little while. Um, I have to be careful. This is Julia Gabor. Come here, poke your head in. This is our director of education.
Hello,
She's just saying hi.
welcome.
So the book builder on our website is unlike anything out there. You can go there right now, and you would go up top, click book builder. You have to enter your email and password in order to access it for the
Okay.
first time. We do not keep your email and send you spammy offers. We don't do that kind of stuff. So you should feel safe putting your email address in. And then you'll see on the screen, wait, come here. No, I tried to get our creative director to say hello, but she hasn't had her coffee yet. You don't want to meet her till she's had her coffee.
Oh, yes,
So
it is
anyway, she
early
built
right
this incredible thing. The book builder, you will see all of the books that are available in our library on the book builder.
now.
You would click through the arrows, the orange arrows on the side, and then you can see any book where the color and the cover might inspire you just to take another peek. You click on it, and it opens up on your screen.
Okay.
If you do not have a computer that has like a decent amount of RAM, if you're on a very bad spotty internet experience, it will take a while for the pages to load, and it won't be perfect because it's a highly interactive kind of digital experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you click, right? So you can click the corner of the page, or, and this is super fun, you can put your mouse on the edge of the page and drag it and it opens like a real book, and you can see all of the pages. Basically, the book opens up on your screen. Let me get one for you.
Yeah, please share
So
that.
let's say
Illustrations are
this is
gorgeous.
the book that you, right? Let's say this is the book you chose. When you click on the book builder, you go click, and the page would open, right? And then it will show you just like it is in real life. It'll show you each page of the book exactly how the paper book appears. So either you go to our store and you say, I want to order this book, or any one of 8 different books, because there are 35 or something books you can do on the book builder. But to have this paper book in hand, your child's writing, your handwriting, the experience of pencil to paper, the brain activates in different ways. Most people know that when you're writing with pencil than when you're typing. And we think in different ways, as you know. Yeah, so some people
So
think
you
better
can
and faster.
download, you can create this in the book builder and put the story
Yes.
and print it and publish it, or you can just buy the word list, softcover or hardcover, and have your child write their story in it.
So let me explain. So if you go on the book builder, you can type your story in. We recommend that
Right.
you look at the book builder with a pad and pencil so that you're at least writing the story first, then type it in. But you can go to the
Right.
book builder right now, type in your story, go to the end, upload your photo, type in your bio, and click publish. And then do a spell check, because we don't correct your spelling. So you
Okay.
want to do a spell check, and you want to check it yourself because it's permanent. Like, you are going to get a hardcover, finished, beautiful copy of the book you wrote, and you want it to be spelled correctly wherever
Absolutely.
possible. We're also
Definitely.
finding that because a 7-year-old wrote this book, it doesn't bother anyone when there are things misspelled. It's the beautiful imaginative story that they wrote, or that a parent wrote, that
Right.
matters. But when you publish it, you give your credit card, and we send you a softcover or hardcover finished published book. And if it's hardcover, there's a beautiful dust jacket. I mean, these books are as gorgeous as any book in the bookstore, and that was the point,
Absolutely.
to elevate the self-esteem of a young author who has a book on their bookshelf written by them that looks just as good as any other book they'll see at the best bookstore, right? However, you cannot download your file. You will get a digital link, and you can read your book digitally. You could send you the digital link of your book to grandma, who can read it in 5 minutes as soon as she
Right.
opens her email. But you can't download it to your desktop and then print it on a printer.
Okay.
It can only be stored. It will live in the book builder in your account forever for you to look at, read, change. Then every time you want a hardcover, a new copy, you'd have to go, order your book again.
Okay.
Or
And you can
and
also
also
create it in the book builder and not pay to publish. You can just have it live in your library.
you can go write 500 versions of one children's book right now. It would all live in, you can go write one version of every one of our books. It would live in your book builder, and you never have to spend a dime. That is true.
So how does this work in the publishing world for the ones that do get published? What are some of the parameters, and are you considered a publishing company at this point?
Yes, we are a publishing company. And what happens
Mhm.
is, so what we will be doing soon, so we consider every author is published because we publish a hardcover version or a softcover version of your book. And in this world, the printing of a book that is written by someone is considered published. What you're
Right.
asking, I think, is the legitimate publishing of, like, they get an ISBN number and we sell it and they're paid a royalty. Is that what you're asking?
Right. Like
Like,
how
more
to
like,
and
so
and what happens if they do publish it? I know we've spoken before about the fact that, yes, you can publish it, but you can't just run to a publishing company and then try to get them to publish it too. What are
no,
some
no,
of
no, no.
those parameters?
So first, let me just clarify that you either go on the book builder, you use it digitally, you can publish a version and get it at your house, get it sent to your house with a credit card, and it's only $24.95 for the hardcover and $18.95 for the softcover. We did not jack the price up because it's so unique and it's your story. It's the same price as any hardcover in a bookstore on purpose, so that everyone can afford to have a book written by them. Or when you go to our store, you can buy an individual book, which comes in a beautiful package, and on the inside of the package is an author's guide. So this is an author's guide, and this comes with one single book. And after you author the book, you get to keep this handwritten, beautiful version forever, which is such a good thing to have. It's not a PDF file you got from your kid at school. It's not a piece of loose leaf paper. It's their handwritten story, which they are going to want to read in 5 years, right? Or you can buy an author's kit, which comes with a lot of stuff in it that I'll share with you, and it includes the publishing. It comes with a code, and your publishing is included. So you would just enter the code at the time of publishing, and you would keep your handwritten book, your story mat, which I'll tell you about, your story card. There's a 15-page, very extensive author's guide in there that is so fun and helpful. When any writer, grown up or small, and we all know it, because everyone on here probably has some interest in writing, whether they've done it or not. And if you've never written, buy an author's kit, because the author's guide in there, it's like a real guide to authoring a children's book, and you will love it. And you'll love the parameters. You'll love the worksheets. Like, you will love having the tools and the steps. It makes young people fearless to write. You know, it's a fact that if you give a young person blank paper, it's scary. And I find it scary as a grown-up. Like, I like some rules around structure and things like that. It's hard to just start with nothing. You know what I mean? So now publishing. So, for example, there are some celebrities who have written or are writing our books. And when they have written a book, and we haven't even done like the big publicity launch around some of these celebrities who have done these books, they forego a royalty of any kind. They've written it in service to the nonprofit side of our company. Right Brain Gives is a nonprofit that supports underserved students, children, and communities, like foster care youth, after-school programs that have like zero funding. And when they write their book, proceeds, the net profits from the sales of their books goes directly to our nonprofit. We don't see a dime of it. And anyone's welcome to do that. But for children, and we will be the first really recognized publisher of kid authors. And soon you will be able to go on our website. I already know the first few authors that we're going to start with. And you will be able to purchase a children's book written by a 7-year-old, by a 9-year-old. And what could be more empowering for an 8-year-old girl than to get a book as a gift written by another 8-year-old? Like, it empowers children to know, like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. So regular big publishing companies, they won't publish kid authors. It's a whole working with children legal liability situation. But I'm going through the process, and we're almost through the process of being able to employ children, because that's, if you offer them an actual deal, a publishing deal where they get royalties, it's a different thing. So, however, anyone can say, please, if they win our contest and they want to pass their royalties on to the percentage of the net profits to our nonprofit, well, then that can happen. So those are the finer things that we're working out right now. But very soon, any child will be able to buy a book. Any grown-up will be able to buy a book written by a child on our website. We're just figuring that out. However, every human who writes a Right Brain book, we publish the book. It's just not always for sale. However, if you publish a book, let's say you're the two sisters who wrote this book, right? Or you're the two best friends who wrote this book. It's published. You can buy 50 copies and go make a little meet the author stand on the corner of your block at your house. You can sell these books for whatever you want. We want to build entrepreneurs. We own, like, Right Brain owns all of the artwork in every book. But you can't take this book and walk to Scholastic or submit it to HarperCollins, because it's the artwork and the IP of this book, including your story, technically once it's on the pages, is Right Brain published already. But you are welcome to make as many copies of your book as you want. Sell them at a farmer's market, sell them on the corner, sell them at your school, give them away to family and friends for gifts. There's no better gift. It's a holiday, and everyone in your family gets a hardcover version of the book you authored that you dedicated to mom and dad because they work so hard and love you so much. Who wants smelly candles and incense? You know what I
Right.
mean?
And we are
It's
going
the
to
gift
let
that
everyone
keeps on
know
giving.
how, absolutely. We are going to let everyone know before this ends how this contest works and how you can enter. So we will get there just for anyone who's wondering about it. Now,
Also,
what
can I add one more
about,
thing?
yeah, absolutely.
Can I say one more thing? When a child or a grown-up, if you are a parent and you write a children's book for your child, put their words in it, tell a story that you know they'll love, and you read it to them, uh, there's nothing like hearing your own words spoken, right? As a grown-up. So
Exactly.
imagine you're a child of any age. Again, we're primary through high school in the school system, but of any age, you write a story, it's a real book, and mommy's reading to you at night your story, or you're reading your own story. They want to hear the book over and over again. It is very empowering. And we are a company dedicated to the elevation of self-esteem across the board, across the country. I want to raise the self-esteem of all humans whenever possible. And I want
Absolutely.
to do it with people I'm not dating.
Yes, agreed.
Um, like, do you know what I'm saying? You understand. So that's
Yeah.
just a little joke. But when a child can hear their own story out loud, or there's a video that you can access on our Vimeo page. You just look for Right Brain Books, Right
Okay.
Brain Books on
Vimeo,
Vimeo.
yep.
There's a video that says a family of four talks about right brain. This girl, she was about 6, and she was learning to read by reading the words of her 5-year-old brother's right brain books, and
Oh,
he was
wow.
just learning to write by telling, his mother was writing the story, so he would tell her the story, the mother would write the words, then it came printed and published, and the daughter was learning to read
Oh
by
my God,
reading her
how
little
amazing.
brother's right brain books. It's so cool for them to
Yeah,
hear their own words out loud. It's very empowering.
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Now, you mentioned in the school system, talk a little bit about what you are doing in the classrooms, the fact that this is a course that can be brought into the school, and how any parent listening can petition to make this happen for their own school.
Well, I recommend that you get a huge group together and large banners, and you march outside the school just screaming, "Right brain
Right,
books,
right.
right brain," and call the local media. That seems to be very effective.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Although I'm kidding. So
Kind of.
these are our curriculum guides. This is the
Okay.
curriculum guide for elementary and middle and high school, right? And we go down to the primary grade level, all grade levels.
Oh,
And our curriculum guide, if you don't know, if you don't have children, and you might not know, there are some standards that states have determined are very important educational tenets that kids need to learn, right? And some people struggle with them because they're not always so simple.
right.
But the standards in English language arts, they're pretty powerful and pretty important. And so our curricula is standards aligned, meaning every lesson plan is aligned to meet a variety of the standards, which means that if you do this program in school, you are meeting state requirements in all sorts of ways, which
Oh,
prepares young people for state tests that are not going anywhere. Much
right.
as some of us might think that there's, standardized testing is very odd. It's important for myriad reasons, and yet we're all different learners, we're all different individuals, and yet we're taught in the same way most of the time. There are
Yeah.
exceptions, obviously. And
Mhm.
then we're expected to test in the very same way, and we're expected to score in the same way. It's sort of kooky and not really possible. So
Yes.
this program is not tested. There is no test at the end of this. If you write a book, it's a great book. There are no wrong books. There are no wrong answers in Right Brain. So even though this is the table of contents, I'm going to share it with you. This is
Oh,
the table
wow.
of
Okay.
contents just for the in-school. And what they do is kids group author. They collaborate and work in groups for the first half of the program. If implemented almost pretty much every day, it's about an 8-week experience. They work together for 4 weeks to collaborate on a book, which is a big deal because they all have their individual ideas and graphic organizer worksheets. So what I think is great development of this character. Hi, Tatiana. Tatiana just walked in.
Oh, hello.
Every child looks at an image and sees their own story of what's happening there, right? So if you and I right now, Beth, looked at a picture and we each wrote our version of what we were seeing, we'd have 2 completely different stories.
Absolutely.
So when you have 5 young people or a family, you know, if your family gets a book and you sit at the table and everybody in the family writes their own version of that page, it's fascinating how different everybody's interpretation of it is, because we all come to everything with our own lens and our own life experience. And 5-year-olds have a life experience, by the way. Just not as much as us 45-year-olds. So that's fascinating because kids are learning perspective, flexible thinking. They're learning that there's way more than one way to see something, which is super important if they're going to be, you know, as they move on in higher education, as they apply for jobs, as they get into relationships. Like, you don't want to work with someone who thinks that their way is the only way. You don't want to be in a relationship down the road when you're grown up enough to be in a relationship with someone who thinks that their way is the only way. So these are like big, important ideas kids need to understand, that you can't teach them in a classroom. And you can't just look at a young person and say, hey, you know, everybody's right here. It's just perception. They'll look at you like you're crazy. Because when you're 8, you're clinging to your version of the story, right? So they work for 4 weeks. They collaborate. They're looking into each other's eyes. They're connecting. They're sharing ideas. They're saying things like, okay, I love my idea, but I love yours too. So how about we name the dog what you want, but then on the next page, let's name the little girl after my sister. Great. So they're learning how to compromise. They're connecting. Their curiosity is being triggered all the time. We have a little wheel here. I'm going to share it with you. I cut it out for you. This is our little C12 core component wheel. It's on the education page of our website.
Okay.
All of these things, 21st century skills that kids need. They need to know how to be creative. They need to know how to access their courage. They need to collaborate. They need to connect. They need to communicate. They need confidence. They need to think critically. And they need to know how to commit to something, start, middle, end, right?
Absolutely.
That's what this does. So they're going to create a book together first. In service, they're going to create a book in their classroom for the kids at Children's Hospital, for a group at a foster care facility in their hometown, right? Or they're going to donate it to the school library, and there's going to be a library living in their school of right brain books written by students in the school. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
So they write the first book together in service and get all that cool collaborative process out of their system. They're doing extensive graphic organizers. They do storyline planning. How much do we all want one of these for every task? They do character development, storyline planning, and there's a graphic organizer worksheet for each thing, because kids need opportunities, even at the high school level, they need opportunities to slow their processes down. Because what's happening is, because information is accessed all the time and coming at them all the time in a very fast-paced way, they are developing what I've learned from experts is called fast processing skills at the expense of what is known as slow processing skills.
Right.
And there's a video on our website. There's a video on our Vimeo page that gets more into this, but basically when you are slow processing, you can have things like good judgment. You have an ability to really empathize. You have an ability to know when you have to show compassion for another human being. There are things that happen when we slow process, and things that happen on what's known as the right side of the brain, if you believe in left brain, right brain theory, which I do. But at right brain, we believe in whole mind thinking, whole brain application to everything. It's just that young people now they are activating their left brain way more often and developing their left
Right.
brain way more often than, say, the right brain, because everything's fast. And also, if I can say, I can't drive down Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles without seeing like 50 moving billboards, right?
Right.
So there's that. And it's like distracting. So if you imagine that just a day in the life of a young person, I think of all the devices in their world all day as these big moving billboards that I drive down the boulevard. I don't know how any child doesn't feel
Comprehend it.
attention deficit disorder.
Right.
Like, so if they were medicating children and diagnosing children the way they do today when I was a kid, I think I would have been anesthetized, drugged out, comatose, down for the count a lot of the time. I
Yeah.
was a highly creative, highly activated child. And back then, way back then, before pills, I'm kidding, they didn't medicate children. Do you know what I mean? They didn't medicate children.
Yeah,
The doctor
exactly.
suggested the doctor suggested that my mom sit with me. I'm going to put this out there to the moms with a bowl of sunflower seeds at the end of the day, and we would sit with a bowl and deshell. Is that a word?
Yeah. Yep.
Unshell, strip, break apart.
You
We would
shall.
deshell sunflower seeds until the bowl was in, till the bowl had been fully deshelled, and by then it's like what we might do today if you're a meditator, or if you
Right.
take a
Like a
bath and just
calming.
chill out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, calming
So I would
process.
get calm. I would get calm by doing that,
Hmm.
not by taking a pill. And also, look, there are some children I don't want to. We have a whole learning disabilities supplement that was just
Okay.
completed and written by the woman who runs the Atlas School for Autism in New York.
Okay.
But this is a supplement to our curriculum for kids of any learning disability. It doesn't matter. But what's happening in the education system today, and there are kids with real problems. I am certainly not dismissing that there are kids with real problems, but they shouldn't be made to feel less than or like losers, and they shouldn't be labeled special needs or learning disabled if they're in a class with other students who are not labeled that way. I think it is chipping away at their sense of self and their self-esteem, because I'm telling you, I think I'm a really intelligent person who has a successful life, uh, and I failed standardized tests, and I was hyper, and I didn't have great study habits, but I memorized things in the
Right.
classroom as it was happening. So I did well on tests, but I didn't do well on standardized tests where there was nothing to really understand. It's all anyway.
Yeah.
So for kids to know their worth, their self-worth and their value at any grade level outside of a measurement by a standardized test
Right.
score is very important. I think it is the answer, frankly, but
Well, I think this
people
certainly
are starting with it.
lends its hand to bringing about that bigger issue. Um,
Yeah. And Ken
we
Robinson, he's been talking about it forever. I don't know if you know who Ken Robinson is, but Google him. His TED Talks are unbelievable. Um, and he's been saying it for a long time, that we have to be waking kids up to what's inside of them. They have so much to say and so many ideas. And look, they can go with it. They can get it. Any kid now, any grown up can get a little camera, make a video, throw it on YouTube, have your voice heard. I
right.
get that.
Yeah.
But within the classroom, it is so limited with all of what they have to learn and know, whether they care to learn or know it or not, and
Yeah.
what they have to invest in and memorize and understand to pass a test, whether the teacher even knows how to inspire them to invest
Yeah.
or not. And what right brain is, let me just end here on the classroom experience. It is an experience it's almost impossible not to invest in it personally, because it's your story start to finish. And after they group author, they independently author. So they've learned all the tools, they've beginning, middle, end. They've written snapshots for the settings and environments in their books. They've learned storyline planning. They've done critique and analysis and peer review. They've learned so much, punctuation, spelling. They've learned so much about how to write a story. They can't wait to write their own.
Yeah.
So once they're empowered with all the tools, then they write their own book in the second half of the program, and they're published twice.
Oh,
They're published
fantastic.
twice. So
Wow, that's awesome.
the group book comes to the class and is donated to wherever was the intended recipient of the donation. And then in the second half, their own book comes to them. Now the school has a culminating event, invites the community, invites the parents, invites other teachers and other students. Pack the auditorium with people, invite the local paper, they will come. You know,
Definitely.
Barnard Elementary School, right? How amazing.
Yeah,
Kids
absolutely.
authoring children's books. So you get it.
Absolutely. So we are a little bit over our time, but I do want to talk about one or
Too
two more
much.
things. Um, I do want to mention too, you can go on rightbrainbooks.com, and I believe you held it up a little bit ago at the beginning of the chat, but Deidre Hall, who is on Days
Oh,
of Our Lives
yes.
as Marlena,
So
she
let me
has
just
written
say,
her own version, and you can purchase it on Right Brain Books, which is
yes.
very exciting.
So let me tell you really quickly. I asked Deidre Hall to pick one of our wordless illustrated children's books.
So
She got a
amazing.
big stack. She picked one. She said it broke her open. She said it cut her open to write this book.
That's really
It is
awesome.
dedicated to her sons,
Oh,
and it is the most, she is a beautiful children's book author.
okay.
This story will make you cry. She cries every time she reads it.
Oh,
We're about to do a big push. We'll do a big push to all of her fans and people. It is an incredible story. Anyone would be very blessed to have this children's book in their hands. And 100% of the net proceeds of this book fund our nonprofit. So if you go
awesome.
to rightbrainbooks.com and you click on Right Brain Gives, it will take you to the Right Brain Gives page where you will see Deirdre's photo. And by the way,
Amazing.
Jeff Kinney, the author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that whole series,
Yeah.
you'll see him there. There is a note for every new young author in every author's kit because he loved what we were doing so much. He wanted to be a part of it in some
Oh,
way.
that's
So when you do
awesome.
buy our author's kit, there's a note for the young author from Jeff Kinney. That's pretty exciting. But you
Yeah.
just click and buy Deirdre's book. It's a beautiful children's book. And then if you just want to start, you don't want to start with the full kit, which includes the publishing, just get an individual book.
Yeah.
Because even if you're a writer of a novel, there will be days where you don't know where to start, right? You're just blocked.
So
A
true.
right brain book will unblock you. And soon our story mats will be available, our story cards and our puzzles. You get a pad of story mats, and if you're writing the great American novel, and I know you are,
Of
or you're
course.
writing a script, or if you pick up one story mat, which is just a big sheet of a single image with writing prompts and a space for your story, if you are a grown up and you pick up a story mat and just take 2 minutes, it will unlock all the parts of your brain that think it doesn't know where to start on whatever you're working on, and it will flow. It will flow.
Awesome.
So those are
So
things I want to say.
let's talk for just a couple of minutes about the contest. I promised you guys we would have more information on that. The contest on how you can actually enter your child's book for a publishing deal, which you are doing, Meredith. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So Faith, are you in this house right now? Okay, so there is a button on the website somewhere that says enter our contest. It's on the
Yep. Right
sidebar.
hand side.
But once you finish writing your Right Brain book, you'll get this digital link. When you publish your book, there is a digital link to your book that lives forever. You would send us that link. You would send it to contest@rightbrainbooks.com. Again, it's WRITE, contest@rightbrainbooks.com. We read every book that comes through, and we've already chosen like the first one or two authors that we're going to publish,
Okay.
but pretty much every quarter we're going to choose probably a boy and a girl. But again, that's all stuff we're finalizing right now. But that's all you have to do is contest@rightbrainbooks.com. I read them. Our creative director reads them. We are a small company of 9 people, and we will respond to you whether you are published or not. But you'll be published if you order a copy. It's just that whether or not we're going to make it for sale on our website or in stores
Right.
that hopefully will want to carry your story, that is to be determined. But you know what? Enter every time. Why not?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And what as we close out here, what is next for Right Brain Books? What does the future hold?
I'm so happy, although I would have been happy to answer. You didn't ask me any questions about what it's like to work with Reese Witherspoon. That happens in almost every interview. Someone's like, Right Brain's awesome. Is
But
Reese
like, what's
Witherspoon
Reese like?
nice? So funny. She's great, just so you
Oh,
know.
good. Okay.
What's next for Right Brain Books?
Yeah.
So Right Brain we've been entirely focused in the education market for all sorts of reasons. Really wanted to shift the conversation nationally from one where self-worth, where the value of a student is connected to standardized test scores, to
Right.
one where it's more about their self-esteem. Now we're going to launch in retail. And so that's what's next. I know we have to go. We are heading to the Toy Fair in New York. You
Okay.
can buy our authors kits and you can buy an individual book on the website right now, but in a week, set a little something on your calendar and check back in with us. You can buy our story puzzles. It's a puzzle with a pencil and a story mat. You can do your puzzle and then write a story about it. You can do your puzzle 10 times, write 10 different stories about it, and then that's what mom hangs on the office wall or dad hangs on his office door. You can buy story mats, you can buy story cards. We're launching into retail, and
Cool.
that is a very new and very daunting thing. And then we're heading out to like 30 education conferences around the country. So, we should post where we're going to be so that if anyone ever wants to come visit,
Yeah, that would be
they
great.
can. So that's kind of what we're doing. We
Awesome.
never stop here. There's always something next every minute, every
Absolutely.
day. In fact, there are 6 people standing right over there waiting for what's next.
They're waiting to take over. Well, that's awesome. Meredith, thank you so much. We are super excited about Right Brain. We love it, and you definitely have supporters here in BookTrib. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, and for the viewers, thank you for listening. Go to rightbrainbooks.com
Thank you
and
so
check it
much.
out because it's really, really awesome. Thank you again,
Thank
Meredith.
you so much. Really, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You have a great
Bye.
rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.